Views expressed in this podcast are for entertainment purposes only and do not reflect any affiliated organizations. Listener discretion is advised.
So, guys, happy Father's Day.
Yes, happy Father's Day, Scotty.
Thanks,
and Wiz.
Really, thank you. Being a father is a very, very interesting and fun and rewarding job, and it also makes me want to put my head through the wall sometimes. But all in good faith. Welcome to episode 6 of No Safe Words. Really thank everyone for listening and tuning in, giving feedback, and really just being part of the No Safe Words community. Have a great, exciting episode. A lot of things are happening in the world today. We want to dive deep and really just give our points of view and open conversation to the world. I feel like conversation is missing in today. And in order to conversate, people need to be willing to listen to other points of view with open and honest ears and just be able to exchange ideas. And I feel like that's missing in today's society.
Well, and that's why the show is called No Safe Words.
And there will be none today.
Dad joke on Father's Day, ladies and gentlemen.
We're gonna get into some spicy topics today.
So, do we want to start off light or do we want to just jump into the meat of things? How do we feel?
Start it off light. Follow up with what you had talked, what you were planning on doing.
All right, so I mean, we can talk about entertainment if we're going to start off light.
All right.
So, which I'm not even sure that this is light because Scotty's like, "Yo, check out this movie or this show, Stick. It's going to be really,
that's
really
not
good."
even that's ridiculous. So I talked about Stick like Monday, right? And then you were like, "Oh, let's watch Duster." You did talk about. I'm going to give you the credit. You talked about Duster. Whatever, but you know, we talked about watching Stick for the pod, and then you started talking about Duster. I didn't realize you wanted to do it for the pod, so I didn't watch it, but I binged 2 episodes of the last 2 days. So, you know, hey, Duster's friggin' great.
I'm not knocking Duster or Stick. All I'm saying is Stick was presented to me as this lighthearted, like, golf show. Yeah. And I jump into episode 1. First, let me just say this real quick. And I know you have something to say, but I didn't talk to you about this. I talked to him about this. Lily and I had a huge fight. Lily's my daughter. Huge fight. Not like we're getting over it fight. We had a huge fight. She's grounded upstairs. So I go, all right, let me watch this lighthearted golf show. And I start watching this lighthearted golf show. No, that's not what I got. I got and friggin' booger snots coming out of my nose because I'm crying in front of the TV. I don't know how that's lighthearted. So I don't want to give any spoilers. Muhammad, take it away.
No, it is lighthearted. I mean, if you think about it, because it's Owen Wilson. So, like, it's lighthearted because he's just goofy as shit.
It is.
He's just
Owen
goofy.
Wilson.
Like, he's goofy.
Yeah, goofy. Hee hee ha ha. I was hee hee ha ha the whole time. I was hee hee ha ha until I was crying.
Yo,
yeah, you were,
dude.
You were until you were.
This little piece. And he started falling all over the house.
It was hilarious.
I'm sorry?
No, it was hilarious. I mean, listen, it was good because there was a balance of, like, serious, you know, potential for the show, and then the comedy and just the fact that it's Owen Wilson and that, like, goofy persona that he brings into the mix, and, like, you can't tell, like, is he really serious about this? The whole thing with his ex-wife, yada yada yada. But I mean, I think I see to your point because there is some stuff in there, obviously, that if you have any kind of situations going on that mirror that or can be, you know, a mirror to that, you're gonna feel some sort of way. Which,
I mean, I'll defend Wiz on this a little bit, like, and Muhammad, you don't have this in your life. You will eventually, but, like, when you have kids and, like, the kid had departed, like, when you have kids and you see something like that, it is way worse. Like, when I was younger, didn't have kids, it was like, oh, okay, you know, his
babies.
It's really trying to not say any of those words.
Sorry.
for the.
So
yeah.
when his son is departed, right? But when you have children, it's different. You have
Why
that
does he
feeling.
like? I can't stop laughing.
Whenever you laugh, you can't stop laughing. You just can't. I said this in episode 3. This dude, like, he can't even talk.
Jesus.
So Stick is
All right.
funny. There is some dramatic parts. There are some deep parts, but in general, it is lighthearted. It's a great. If you like golf, this is. I mean, Muhammad, you like golf, right?
Yeah,
You like Dags?
it's great.
And you like the show, right?
Yeah, so far so good.
I mean, listen, I think Stick is a great show. To give you guys a nutshell who haven't seen the show, Owen Wilson stars as a newly divorcee who is navigating life. Him and his ex are going to sell the house, and he was an ex-golfer who had a meltdown and
Never
is
recovered.
just never recovered and is trying to figure out how to navigate life. And in doing so, comes across a kid with a really good knack for the sport who also has a, I won't say troubled past, but a past.
He has trauma.
Trauma is a good point.
Yeah,
So you have these two hurt individuals who find each other, who we'll see what happens. Saw episode 1. Aside from me sobbing at the end of the episode, I thought it was funny and I thought it was good and it was a great recommendation. So I would like to see how this show goes. Anyone who has Apple TV, highly recommend checking out Stick. It's not just for golfers, it's for everyone.
I'm really interested to see how he does in like a more, I guess, balanced role, and how much comedy is really going to play into it, and how much of it's going to be like him being a serious character.
Yeah. I was getting kind of Will Ferrell vibes from him in the show, or like how you don't like Seth Rogen. I was kind of getting annoyed how he talks. But if you're not annoyed by how Owen Wilson talks, it's great. It's great. Other than that, the show is great.
Yeah,
Yeah, he definitely has the Owen Wilson talk
Yeah.
during the whole show.
Yeah.
Another show that we all decided to pick up and watch, I'm interested to hear your two gentlemen's take on it, is Duster. It is a crime getaway driver kind of show that's based in the 70s in HBO. Hear your thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, Duster, when I think of Duster, I think very much how I felt from like Dope Thief. So it was like, oh my God, I need to watch the next episode. They leave you on the they leave you on the hook right at the end. Like, I need to get to the next episode and I just want to binge the heck out of it. It's like one of those suspense thriller action shows that just keeps you coming back for more.
after the first episode, honestly, I feel like it was how convenient the things lined up, and then that it was rushed. I feel like that episode was rushed. The progression of going from like one thing to the next, it just seemed like it was like it seemed too convenient for like building the plot of a movie, like building the plot of a TV show, like. And I mean, it's like, oh, of course, someone. Well, I'm not going to ruin anything from it, but I don't know. I mean, I liked Stick a little bit more. I mean, I like they added some twists to Duster that will probably make it more interesting to watch as it goes on. To Scotty's point of like leaving you on the edge of your seat, trying to figure out like, okay, well, what's going to happen next? Like, how is it going to play out because of some of the different scenarios that happen at the end of that episode. But there's promise to it, so we'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Like, I feel like Duster feels like you're already in season 2 or season 3. Like, they're trying to build out this giant plot line. I mean, he gets in trouble in the first 2 episodes. He gets in trouble with 3 different organizations, and you're like, what is going on here? Like this is all going to come back around and bite him, and they can't close all those loops in one season. Like, that would be way too rushed. But yeah, did you only see the first episode?
Only saw the first episode.
All right, so in the second episode, then it's like this whole other thing.
Don't get into that.
I'm not getting into it. I'm just, hey, this is building suspense for people. I'm telling people it's getting more crazy, right?
Crazy.
And honestly, I mean, that's what I like about it. But you're right, though. Like, even in episode 2,
but
there's like 5 things going on, and you're like, what? And you switch between scenes super fast, and
I don't see that, but I'll give you my thoughts. My thoughts are, and I think we can dive deep into episode 1 since I think this is week 4 or 5 of the episode.
Yeah,
so
there's like 5 episodes.
We can dive deep into this, and if people tell us to shut up, then we won't. We'll give spoiler. I'll give you spoiler alert. All right.
Farrah, spoiler alert.
She watched the show with him. I see what you're saying. I think that they added all of those things really quick in the first episode from what I am sort of gathering, so that way they can progress the story. Instead of getting caught up on the FBI agent trying to build out a case to get to this point, to get to Duster's role within the organization, to get to all of this, I think you learn that Duster works for him. You're seeing what he does as a getaway driver and just a driver of packages per se.
A fixer almost too.
What?
It's kind of like a fixer too.
Yeah. Yes. In the very beginning, you see him do all this, and he might bump in. It's really that the people from the fry shop or whatever it was in the very beginning, I think they weren't really serious, but then
taco place,
it was taco place or whatever it was, and then it was who he works for that he could be getting in trouble with, and the Mexican cartel, right? Which we really didn't dive into the Mexican cartel at all. That's just there, so we know it's going to come back to haunt.
It's going to come back.
Like that's just in the background.
I bet you that's gonna. Well, I don't know, but if I was the writer, I would have wrote that into the end of the season, so that way it would keep you coming back for season 2.
Well, I think what'll
probably
happen.
happen faster than that.
What'll happen is this season will play out. This season will play out, and at the end of the season, if the Mexican cartel hasn't been brought in, it'll be brought in at the very end to tie into season 2.
Yeah,
I'm getting some Breaking Bad / Better Call Saul-esque storyline vibes with this one. How like they have all the different, like you said, the 3 different agencies, 4 different agencies, whatever it is, the cartels, that guy, and that they're just going to be able to branch out if they want to branch out, and then kind of intertwine, and then maybe have like a split off or something from it.
Yeah. I'm gonna say this right now. What's the guy he works for? His name?
Baxton? No.
Saxton.
Saxton. Saxton didn't do it. I'm gonna call.
No, definitely he did. He definitely did.
I'm gonna call out Saxton.
I mean, he doesn't believe that he did it, but he's gonna learn that he did.
No, Saxton.
Yes.
Didn't do it.
No, Bro, did you hear Saxton? Oh, it'd be better if we.
That could also.
This dude.
That could also be part of just the story. Like, that could also be part of the way they're progressing the show to kind of like smoke and mirrors misdirect you to think that that's the case. And then he flips on him and then ends up finding out that it was somebody else in the organization or somebody else that had an issue with him that did that. And then maybe it was even the FBI. And then they use that as like a way to infiltrate the organization. I'm just speculating, but
I'll say this. If it takes off, they'll probably do some twist like that. But
I mean, we're already on episode 4 or 5, so I think this season was already written.
Yeah, this season was already written, but I'm saying I don't think he finds out by the end of the season. You think he finds out by the end of the season? Or do you think we will find out by the end of the season?
I don't know. It depends on how this progresses. Like, if this goes into the second season as Mexican Cartel, then yes, I think that this season wraps up with Saxton being done, the storyline for Saxton being done. And then heading into the Mexican Cartel.
They can't have a star like that playing Saxton and he's gone after season 1.
I'm not saying that he's gone after season 1, but look at Ned Stark. Ned Stark's head came off in episode 7.
Yeah. Episode 7?
Or 6, whatever. It wasn't the end.
Yeah.
Um,
I
Interesting
love that
take.
guy. He's hilarious.
but
I mean, and he's not like, I don't even know if it's intended to be hilarious, but that dude is just hilarious.
yeah, he's definitely character fit. Like, what do they call when like one person just fits one role and that's all? Like
Typecasted.
something. What?
Typecasted?
Typecasted. That guy plays that same similar character in multiple different sort of roles.
Fair enough.
All in all, if you like the 70s sort of vibe and era, and
With a strong,
American
independent
muscle
female
cars.
lead.
Yep, strong female lead.
But I also think you have to, just, before we end this, I want to say, just give a pilot episode. If you say there's too much in the pilot episode, I mean, they had to sell this show on that one episode, and they probably didn't cut it. They're probably like, this is great. Roll it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
print it, send it, let's get it out. You know what I mean?
Do we think...
So you like in Stick too, like Stick, there was so much in the first episode, and it was like, I was like, oh my God. Like, and then,
Yeah, that's what I was, oh my God.
you see on the, like, it's literally called pilot episode, like on the show.
Well, all episode ones are pilots, but sort of. Before we wrap up entertainment, I wanted to get on this. There's a new show coming out on Apple TV called Smoke. I don't know if it's going to be good, bad, indifferent. However, the people that starred in and wrote Blackbird are going to be taking part in this.
Never saw
I know
Blackbird.
neither one of you have seen Blackbird. I recommend Blackbird to both of you. It's sort of based around a true story, and it's involving a serial killer. The serial killer in the show looks very similar to the actual serial killer.
Ooh,
and he
creepy.
plays a weirdo, a real weirdo, and plays it to the T. Like, it's really, really well shot, and it's a fun watch. So I recommend it both to you, but I'm interested to see it because I liked what they did in that Blackbird show to see what they're going to do with Smoke. I think it's something to do with an arson and then fixing and finding.
Yeah.
That.
Platonic is coming out soon too.
Platonic season 2.
I've got to watch season 1.
I haven't seen it.
I watched season 1, and I argued with someone that men and women can't be friends.
Is that a bang?
Rebel. Rebel. I didn't want to act like I was on cocaine.
Don't
So
spill that one though.
I'm not.
You're gonna have to sit in it next episode.
Oh man. I don't want to know what kind of ditty shit you're into.
God help us all.
Well, there goes the fun, guys. There's the fun for us all now.
Well, why don't we talk about the Karen Reed trial?
Oh, that's more fun. I have more fun with that. I have lots of fun with that.
Yeah, so
right.
I mean, go ahead.
Go ahead, guys.
All right. Well, if you haven't listened to the closing arguments, it sums up the whole thing. I listened to it on Friday. It was fresh, and it was crazy because I'll say the prosecutor is, he's just like, you just hear his voice and you're like, what a jerk. Like, this dude just sounds like a freaking jerk. But the defense does their closing arguments first, and then the prosecutor. And I'm listening to the defense, and I'm like, this is wild. Like, all of these things they're bringing up, all of these like different defenses to every single point, and then the prosecutor comes out, and right when the prosecutor comes out, I'm like, this guy's done. This dude is done. The prosecutor comes out and he focuses on one thing. I mean, he paints, a picture of like Karen Reed's relationship and John O'Keefe, and he says, "Oh, look, him and Brian Higgins, they're nice. This isn't them preparing to fight, blah de blah, whatever." So like, he talks about that a lot, but he very specifically targeted the phone data, right? And he left out the fact of, the 30 whatever steps and going up the stairs or whatever and all that. He left all that out because that doesn't help his case at all. But he talked about how, like, right at that moment, and this lines up with the car time, and she drove 80 feet in reverse, and she got to 75% throttle, and then the phone data stopped. And I was like, oh my God, is he turning me right now? I was like, do I kind of believe she's guilty right now? And I mean, masterclass, I guess, right? Like the dude hit it hard, and I could see this deliberation going days.
Nah, by Monday. We'll have a decision by Monday.
No,
I disagree with you, Scott. I really, really disagree with you.
Go ahead.
I can't disagree with you more, I don't think. First and foremost, he went off of saying that this was a deliberate act. I think that was the worst thing that he could have done. I think what he could have done was make this look to be an accident.
He didn't say it was a deliberate act. He said her reversing.
He said that Brennan argued that Karen Reed intentionally struck John O'Keefe with her SUV and left him there to die in the snow.
He did not say that.
Yes, he did.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. He said for murder too, you don't need intent.
What are we talking about, Scott?
You don't need intent.
He also then played her words showing that she was angry with him and painted a picture that she deliberately hit him and left him there to die in the snow. That was the way he
definitely painted the picture and said that she made a choice after she hit him to deliberately drive away and not help him, right?
So
he did say that, but the reversing to he doesn't have to prove that she deliberately did that for murder too.
But he said that she deliberately hit him.
I don't
and left him there to die. And the easiest way to go about this is to paint this picture as a really bad accident. For me personally, if you go ahead and say that, hey, she was drunk, she accidentally reversed, hit him, it's a really bad accident, he got left there to die, she didn't know what to do, and then turn this and try to spin this so that way she wouldn't be looked like a murderer because it was a bad accident, to me is a lot easier to get people to emotions to string. Like not painting her to be this huge villain and then discrediting all of the defensive findings. I felt like Hank obviously is a really good prosecutor.
Yes. That's why they brought him in.
He does sound like a douche. He definitely tries to get people to slip up while they're going through, and he's trying to disapprove or discredit the witness. So he goes back and forth with these different kind of line questions to get them to slip up. So that way, as soon as they slipped up, then he moves on to the next question, right? And he does that, and he weaves in and out of this. Sometimes he messed up with Dr. Russell. I made the mention that he slipped up big. He should have left Pandora in the box, but she put him right in the chokehold. I don't know. I still think that there's no way that you can find her guilty. I think that this gets done by Tuesday, in my personal opinion. And
so days of deliberation.
2
Friday.
Days. Well, Friday was 2-3 hours.
Yeah, I mean, they got done at 2:30. They left at like 5:30. So 3 hours of deliberation.
They're still deliberating over the weekend, even though they're not physically there. Every single person there on that jury
in their freaking heads.
They're deliberating in their brains right now.
So, Muhammad, do you have any thoughts on the closing arguments?
I mean, just the point that it's like the guy kept, painting the picture of, beyond a reasonable doubt, and the fact that, she's sitting there as she should be sitting there as presumed innocent based on the way the law works. There's that whole thing about the revised testimony from Jennifer where it said that she said Reed said I hit him 3 times. So like that was a little bit of a bombshell piece there.
I mean, there were a couple things. I don't know if you were done, Muhammad. I don't want to cut you off.
No, that's fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, there were a couple things that were like, especially that the prosecutor said that I was like, dang, and it made me think back. And like, for instance, her first call to Jen McCabe was, and I don't know if he's lying. I don't know if he's cutting pieces out, right, of what was actually said or not. But he said when she first called Jen McCabe, she was like, I think he got hit by a snowplow. Or I left him at the waterfall. That's what she said. I left him at the waterfall. I left him at the bar. He could be freezing to death. Right? That was the first thing that the prosecutor said that she said. And then when Jen McCabe was like, what are you talking about? You dropped him off at the house. And I was like, and then she hung up on her immediately after Jen McCabe said that. And I was like, what? I don't remember that part, but that's weird action to take.
Yeah.
And then she said something like, I think he got hit by a snowplow. I think he got hit by a plow is what she said. And then I was like,
but who said that?
Karen said that.
But who said that? Karen said that.
Oh yeah. Right. Jen McCabe and her friend, whatever. Who was her friend's?
With the cops.
Yeah.
Cops' girlfriends or wives.
Yeah.
So the people who possibly murdered
could be involved in the other side.
Kellyanne, I think Kellyanne's her name. Yeah, but Kellyanne didn't know Jen McCabe. Kellyanne didn't know Jen McCabe until that day, till that morning.
Okay. And
so, or Carrie,
they could still be connected.
What about her boyfriend?
I don't know who her boyfriend is.
Isn't her boyfriend a cop?
I have no idea. Do you know?
I thought her boyfriend was a cop.
Who was he?
Who
was he referring to when he was talking about all those pocket dials? Was that
Brian Higgins pocket dialed?
Was that Jennifer?
A lot of pocket dials,
from his
and
nightstand.
they showed a video that wasn't a pocket dial.
Yeah,
but I will say, this is if she didn't do it, then there's got to be indictments coming. There's got to be FBI indictments coming. Like, this is a crazy wide conspiracy. I mean, for 4 or 5 cops to be moving stuff around, like Michael Proctor, the ATF agent Brian Higgins, the Alberts, right? And then we're also talking about the commissioner is in on this too. Like
do the right thing.
Across
and there's that group
agencies, chat. Like, this is wild. Like, the local police, the state police, the the commissioner of that organization who's elected, right? And ATF agents all this is a wild conspiracy.
Just throw my phone over.
People are going to jail.
I mean, I don't know that to be true. I think in order for that to happen, either the FBI has to step in and do an investigation, or outside agencies need to step in and do an investigation.
The FBI is already doing
well. We don't know what they're doing.
If we believe Officer Diva's first testimony that she talked to the FBI, but apparently that was a false memory.
Well,
which is why
it was supposed to be
false memory.
I'm remembering from the media.
Yeah, it was supposed to be stricken from the conversation, but then the prosecutor slipped up like 5 times during the testimony, mentioning the FBI that wasn't supposed to be mentioned.
Oh, so they have an ongoing case. It might be an ongoing case against Michael Proctor, which is why he got fired.
Yeah, I listen.
Anything's possible.
When it comes to those kind of situations, like, internal affairs will have to step in, or something has to happen in order to do an investigation. If I just look at it from a pessimist view, then nothing is going to happen. If this is a hung jury, they'll try her again and continue to spend tens of thousands upon.
No, they won't. Do you think they'll try her again if it's a hung jury?
Why not?
No, 2 tries and it's done, man. I'm telling you.
I don't know.
They're not going to try her again. They'll leave the case open.
Maybe.
They're not going to try it.
I don't know why they tried her again this time, to be honest with you.
I don't either. That's wild.
Maybe it's further, like you said. Maybe it's got to do with the bigger picture of what's happening behind the scenes with the FBI and whoever else. Maybe there's some aspect of it that in order for them to get some of the information through discovery, they had to retry them to then get other testimony to let people hang themselves by, obviously, if they're giving different testimony the second time around from the first time around, just a thought. I don't know, how accurate that could be, but maybe there's something more to it than just the, conspiracy tinfoil hat coming on. Maybe it's something more than just this trial. Maybe the idea is it's a bigger, casting a bigger.
Well, someone did mention that.
Yeah.
Someone mentioned the Giglio trial, that some of the parties in this have influence in these missing people. I didn't look too much into it. It was a conspiracy theory that's around it. We can dive deeper in that in another episode if we want to dot and look into what this is. But there was apparently a bunch of homicides, and there's a documentary on them. So we could watch the documentary. But apparently something around these homicides, it was fishy and ties to some of the parties that were involved in this trial. So I don't know. I guess let's go off of what we feel like the verdict is going to be.
Oh, it's going to be not guilty.
Not guilty.
Yeah, not guilty. So we got 3 not guilties.
That burden of proof, or that burden, it's the burden of proof. They're not reaching it.
All right, and when do we feel like this is? When are we getting a result? I'm saying
Monday.
Tuesday. Monday.
Wednesday.
Okay, that's cute.
Price is Right rules, right?
Nope.
So wait, Price is Right rules. You would then be over then, or it'd be closest to it without going over. So if it happened on Tuesday, Wiz would be right.
Yeah, you just add $1, right? That's the Price is Right. Yeah, you put $1 over the other guy.
It's the last person.
Put one day over his. That's it.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be Friday, but I'm gonna say Wednesday because I don't want to go over if it's Thursday.
So in closing, this was a fun topic. I think we may look into the Ohio trial when that comes out, when it starts. I don't know when that starts, but that should be an interesting conversation.
I thought it was ongoing. I thought it was.
No, I mean the trial hasn't started.
Oh, it hasn't?
No.
They should push it to wait until
Wait until this is
done.
Trials,
News coverage so they get some money.
Yeah, it depends on how that pans out if we cover that or not.
Or there's a lot for news to freaking cover right now. So.
Oh yeah. Speaking of that, let's dive right into what we want to talk about. What's going on in the world with ICE? ICE, baby.
Ice. So to preface this conversation, I
have a lot of choice words about this, and this is coming from a first-generation American citizen. I don't know Muhammad's views. We really haven't talked about any of this between the three of us.
Now we leave this off the pod.
We come up with topics, and we decide that having raw conversations in the moment are best. So this is unscripted, undialogued approach. I have no idea how either of these gentlemen feel about these. So I'm going to stop and allow anyone else to step in and just give a little background on where they come from.
Yeah, I am gonna stick it clean because I am a 13th generation American.
No, start it off, Scotty.
Branches.
Start it off. You were getting ready.
Our leading expert of immigration, Scott
I'm
Waller.
trying to stay as far away as possible.
No. Give us your unfiltered opinion.
Yeah, give us your no safe words opinion on the matter, Scott.
No, man. I mean, look, man. You know what I mean? Immigrants are great, right? Immigrants are great. You know, we need them in our country
For them to do all the jobs you don't want to do, right?
They do all the jobs that
They
everybody else in the
What do they
country
shit on?
doesn't want to do, apparently. You know,
Maybe not all of them, but a lot of them.
But I will say, you know, we need immigration reform. Period. We need immigration reform. Period. Because, like, it is ridiculous how difficult it is for some people to get into the country. We have like a limit. We do have some, like, you know.
I disagree.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
We do have this. Like bar kind of thing, like you have to provide some sort of value to come to our country, but like there's value that's not getting counted, I think. And right, like doing the jobs we don't want to do, right? You know, I mean, but also, we cannot let everybody in. We can't let everybody in. If you ever looked at the numbers, I mean, that's probably really elitist of me to say that we can let everybody in, because really I'm looking at my standard of living, and if we let all the people who want to come in, everybody's standard of living goes down, and we've already got problems with standard of living. So
Okay.
what are we talking about here, right? Like, I think there absolutely needs to be immigration reform. I don't know what to do about the illegals. The most of the country feels like they need to be dealt with. And that's what Trump is doing. I mean, he ran on that in the first one. He ran on that in the second one. And he won. On his first run, and not his second run, his third run.
So what would you propose as a potential solution for what's going on?
I don't have a solution. I'm not a politician, man. Like, I don't know. Maybe we let more people in. Maybe we have a larger bucket of people that we let in that are not required to meet that, level of, what are they called? Those standards, right? So we bring people in, they go to school, they get a master's degree, then we give them then they get a job that gets sponsored, and then we turn them into citizens,
Tax-paying
right?
citizens.
And sometimes that happens, and sometimes that doesn't happen, right? But that's like, oh, we've got a guy who's or gal or whatever got a master's degree in engineering. Yeah, we're going to try and keep them in the country. But I know some people specifically from India who were denied their green cards after their first 2 visas. Now, look, the guy was probably a little slow on putting his paperwork in. That kind of screwed some things up. But, dude had a master's degree, was an automation engineer, was getting stuff done, was contributing to society. Like, why did we let him go? I don't know, right? Maybe it was the Trump administration. But then we have kind of this level of like low skilled labor coming into the country, and people, conservatives, Republicans, they've got problems with that until they've got nobody to work in their restaurant, or nobody to work at their farm, or nobody to do this, that, or the other, these other industries that they work in, where they do contribute to society, just not in the same way as, say, a master degree engineer, right?
Fair enough. Makes sense. Would you? All right. So on a I guess a tangent off of that, do you think? So this is going to take it to the other side.
Why am I the expert?
I mean, I'm going to unload. So.
Do either of you think? We'll say, do either of you think that the idea of opening up the borders from the last administration was strictly done to influence the political climate of the United States with what it is now?
I mean, I think that played a big portion. I think that could have played a portion. I don't know.
What do you mean it could have just played a portion? It's pandering to the base.
I'm not giving a definitive answer, yes or no. What I am saying is that we allowed, all right, so if we take a look at what happened during the previous administration, we were calling for open borders, and that resulted to our border security being overrun and not being able to operate efficiently. So what did that look like? That looked like 4.5 immigrants coming into the United States. 2 million of them were put through like asylum purposes, or excuse me, 2 million came through illegally. 2.5 million came through with some sort of guidelines to be in the United States for the time being. Out of the 2.5 million, 500,000 are missing right now. They're not reporting to any sort of judge anything that they were supposed to be doing. So now we have 2.5 million people in the United States that we don't know what's happening. Now, this is not just Hispanic people that were coming through the border. So my problem with today in today's climate is there's a lot of misinformation. The biggest misinformation is that ICE is only deporting Hispanics, and they're not.
Yeah.
They're deporting anyone that came through illegally and is causing some sort of potential for crime.
Yeah, there's no specific targeting.
Now,
I mean, who was that influencer?
Cobby Lane? Cobby Lane?
Yeah. Cobby Lane, like he got kicked out. He was like on a work visa though, or something, right?
Yeah, he overstayed.
There's specific provisions for coming from Italy because he's Italian that allow them to bypass. So there's something called the visa waiver program using an ESTA authorization. Don't know what ESTA stands for. I probably should have looked that up beforehand. Which allows a maximum stay of 90 days for tourism and business, related things where no traditional visa is required. Apparently, there was some kind of an issue with that caused him to be, or causes his status to be flagged, and then this conservative, influencer or whatever you want to call him, Bo Loudon, blasted him on social media, and I guess apparently reached out to some people to get, I guess, more scrutiny on this guy's status, and that's what ended up, I guess, forcing it through. But it turns out that there was an issue with his actual, or at least from what I understand, there was an issue with his original, I guess the EST authorization through that visa waiver program, which is why he was deported, not because he necessarily overstayed that 90-day threshold because he was only here for 37 days, but it was more so the fact that there was an issue with it, and he was given the opportunity to self-deport, because they basically said, hey, you're not allowed to be here because there was an issue with the way you processed whatever it was to get here. You have to leave by this certain date. And then when he decided he wasn't going to leave and went to this event in Vegas, he got intercepted there. Yeah, so on June 6th, he was going to the, I don't know whatever. I think was that the Met? No, he was going to something on June 6th, and on June 6th he was detained at the Las Vegas Harry Reid International Airport. So
yeah,
that was kind of the long and short of it. But to Wiz's point, it's not just
the long and the short of it.
Yeah, it's not just it's not just Latin Americans or Hispanic people that are being deported. The idea is
my grandfather migrated from Cuba during wartime and moved to Mexico, and that's where he met my grandmother. My grandmother fell in love with my grandfather. My grandmother's family was pretty wealthy. They came from Spain and opened up a logistics company in Mexico. And because she fell in love with my grandfather, she was disowned from her family. So my grandfather was living in dirt floor fucking pueblos, right? And at the end of the day, they decided to come to the United States, and they did it a legal way. My mom was born in Mexico. They migrated and got into Colorado, and then they ended up migrating to New Jersey, moving to New Jersey. Now, I come from a town that a lot of people have immigrated into the United States. Anybody that's come into the United States the legal way should have a problem with everyone that's coming into the States an illegal way, because there is a path to citizenship here in the United States. But I don't want to discredit that there are people in the world that are seeking a better life for their family, or that they're trying to flee a place that isn't good. my problem here is in the United States, we have vets that have served this country, around 50,000 of them. And you're a vet. We also, I was able to work with, go with Scotty. And
you mean the 50,000? I'm not one of the 50.
No. Okay. Like, I'm talking about homeless.
Oh, homeless.
You're a vet.
You didn't say that. Yeah,
you're a vet.
Right.
There's 50,000.
Oh, I'm not homeless either, but
yeah, well, no, you're a vet, but there's 50,000 homeless vets that have served our country and fought for our country. There are 14 million kids that go to bed hungry every day. There are what? 2/3 of our kids aren't getting proper education, but we're worried about everyone else. So for me personally, until we can figure out a way to fix our own shit, I'm not trying to play Captain Save a Planet. There are things that we need to do to protect everyone in the world, sure. But until we tighten up here, I don't want to hear that shit. I don't. My family came in here the proper way. Now we have all of these people who want to just feel a way about, hey, and this is going to feed into Israel and Iran that we're going to talk about shortly. So I'm just going to clear the air here. We're not in the 90s anymore. And a lot of these people have not faced fucking any sort of adversity. So they don't know what the fuck real world is or real problems are. I'm not saying everyone, but I'm saying there's a good portion of the United States that have had a fluffy sort of life. So they want to give back, and that's admirable. And they want to fight for people who they feel can't fight for themselves. Well, there are 14 million kids that are going to bed hungry. Fight for them. There are 2/3 of our kids that aren't getting good educations. Fight for them. There are 50,000 soldiers that are now homeless living in the United States. Fight for them. Then once they're taken care of, we can open our borders and allow a lot of these other people to come in to help them too. But until those people are going to bed with a roof over their heads and not going to bed starving and getting a proper education so that way we can build a better tomorrow for our friends and families and the people around us, I don't want to hear that shit. So they want to give back, and that's admirable. But give back to them. You want to fucking throw rocks and fucking light shit on fire and do all this dumb shit and then get angry because you're getting thrown behind bars or that people aren't fucking giving you the time of day? You're stupid. You're stupid. You're breaking the law. I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that in my day. Like, you're stopping Susan from going to work to feed her family. You're stopping whoever to go do whatever they need to do. You want to protest. You want to be peaceful. But don't shove it down my throat that you're doing a peaceful protest and shit's fucking burning and fucking stores are being looted and people are being punched in the face and all of those things. I don't have time for that bullshit. There are people out there peaceful protesting. I'm all for that. But if you want to fucking cause crime, go to jail.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, so just to add to that in a separate, not as serious point, is like you see these pictures. I know right now you can't really go by pictures or anything, but like it's kind of ironic where the people. So there's this one picture in specific of the Mexican flag and the car and everything burning. They burn the car on, like they set the car on fire and they're waving the Mexican flag around. Ridiculous. And it's like, okay, that's great and all, but why? Like, what is that going to accomplish? What are they looking to accomplish by waving around a Mexican flag and burning a police car here? Like you're not in Mexico. You're in the United States now, and if you're trying to show respect or like, oh, I'm from Mexico, whatever. If it's so great, then go back. Like you want to.
Why did you leave?
Why did you leave? Like, okay, you can be Mexican, you can be proud to be Mexican, but by showing that as the association with you being Mexican, that's not a positive thing. And there's a lot of people that have come out on come out in terms of like on social media and whatever and say like those people, we don't claim them, essentially. Kind of like the people say now, like, oh, we don't claim our president, he's not our president, whatever. That's fine. Different topic of, same scenario.
What are they saying?
They say those people don't represent us. right? We came here the proper way. We want to support this country. We want to live a better life. To Wiz's point, Tony's point, we want to have a better life. We want to come here and contribute, and we love this country. That's why they came. That's why they're staying, because they come because they love the country and they want to be here. They're not looking to cause any of these issues. So it just to expand on what Anthony said, there's a bigger issue beyond that.
I unloaded.
There's a bigger issue beyond that, and that is the bureaucracy that stops any kind of reform or changes from taking place. For example, to expand on the homelessness issue, there's like 750,000 homeless people in the United States, separate from veterans, right? And then one of the biggest homeless centers is in LA and like in California. Now, don't quote me on this because I don't, it's a little while ago, but there was a plan in place for them to work on the homelessness issue in, I don't know if it was in San Francisco or LA, one of those two places. And by the time it was all said and done, nothing was done with it because all that money got churned through from the bureaucracy of like red tape and paperwork and, getting this permit, this approval, that approval, a commission, a board for this, a board for that. It's just bloated government spending. It's literally bloated government spending. So it's like,
100%.
The other piece of it was there was this whole thing that during the Biden administration, this whole plan on, the internet, getting everybody in the United States to have internet accessibility, and not a single place got anything from it because they had to go through 20-something steps of approvals. It was on, what show was it on? One of the late night shows, I don't remember, Colbert maybe? I don't know. He talked to it and he was like, this is crazy. He went through the whole process, like 27 steps of it, and only one township or one jurisdiction that was trying to go through with it got to the end of it. And then at that point, they just gave up because they were like, at this point, they've spent so much time and energy on it and nothing's come through that not a single person, not a single place had internet access that came from that whole Biden administration plan to basically get access to people in the United States for high-speed internet.
They had like a whole section of their infrastructure bill dedicated to it, and it
never
got spent.
It never got it didn't get
well,
spent.
it got spent, but
it got spent
never
in red tape
achieved
and
its goal.
Yes,
right.
It got spent in all the bullshit of keeping politicians paid and over complicating processes and all of these things.
Yeah.
It's just going in a circle. It's all going in a circle. And then to further your point, why are we spending so much money on foreign aid for all these other countries when we have all of these issues here? Homelessness, hunger, like the housing crisis, the fact that shit's not affordable. You're like eggs, $10. I mean, obviously the eggs are a little bit better priced now, but eggs are $10 a dozen. Like you go to the city, it's like, how is this sustainable? And then people are thinking, okay, let's add more people to the mix. That's going to help the problem. Then that means less people are going to have jobs. Less people are going to be able to make money because there's going to be more people fighting for the same, or actually there's going to be just more people that need to be somehow supported. So then the government's going to end up having to pay for them. And to that point earlier, the reason why some political parties benefit from this is because when you have a political party that relies on people needing them, you want to have more people that need you. You don't want people to be self-sufficient. You don't want people to enrich themselves and figure out ways to process or ways to better their lives. You want people that are going to be relying on you because guess what? They need you. They'll keep voting for you because you'll give aid, you'll do whatever, and all it does is keep them under your control. And that's my piece of the rant on that.
All right, so we talked about some immigrants, right?
Immigrants.
I mean, there's a lot
These
of them.
people.
There's a lot of them. But illegal immigrants I'm talking about specifically. But what about the illegal immigrants who have been here for 10 years? They have kids here. Their kids have been born here.
That's different.
No excuse.
What are we
No,
doing?
I disagree.
What's the solution? Do we make them citizens?
No, they have to follow the process like everyone else does.
Well, what do you think?
So I'm a torn on this subject, right? I'm really torn. This subject I'm torn on because they have established a life here, right? Maybe you create a path of citizenship for them, where they have to adhere to certain guidelines, and you have to go through background checks that qualify that, hey, you've been here for this long, you've been working for this long, you haven't been committing crimes. I don't know what that looks like, right? I've thought about this a lot, right? Because there are people that have been here for so long that
I mean, like, I went to high school with illegal immigrants.
Some of them might be here longer than they were in their original countries, right?
That's true.
So how do you send them back to their original country when they were here longer than they were their original country?
That's right.
So, yeah, that has to be discussed. I'm not talking about that. What I'm talking about is strictly what ICE is doing. ICE is going after people who were entered into this country over the last administration, because we have 4.5.
Are they only targeting
they're
those
doing
people?
they're doing that, and they're also doing people who
Criminals.
are supposed to be criminals and targeting criminals to get them out of this country. Now, whether or not that's what they're doing, I don't necessarily know 100%. But
some of these people, they're not like proven guilty in court, which I think is some of the problem that we were having before. They deserve their due day in court, but then it's like, well, they're not citizens, so do they really?
There's only been
deserve that?
There's only
It's
been
like
one case in Trump administration over the last, since he's been elected this term, that hasn't went through a due process. But I can tell you one thing, that
no.
I believe there's only been one case.
They send like a couple planes of people to house them in Ecuador until they can get their due process or something. So I think that was a problem. That was a whole argument.
I don't know that to be certain.
Yeah.
Maybe. I have no idea.
Well, I know that was an argument.
But were those people that they sent over similar to the Venezuelan gangs that they sent back to Venezuela? Because I know,
this is Ecuadorian.
We're sending criminals back to their homeland.
Oh yeah.
So that's fine by me. Like, people don't understand
that was wild.
What Colorado was going through, even though Colorado didn't want to admit that they were going through it. I don't know. Some of the people that I grew up with can talk to you about O Block in Chicago. That's not a place that you want to fuck around. And the Venezuelan gangs were taking over O Block. I don't know for certain, but I know what I was seeing online, that they were just out there busting shots in the air like it was 4th of July.
Yeah.
So
4th of July in Afghanistan, where they just shoot guns in the air.
Well, they do that in the hood too. I'm sorry.
I mean,
like shots in the air like it's New Year's Eve, my man.
Yeah.
This is the problem with our immigration reform, is that Democrats are like, no, we need to create a path of citizenship.
But that's
and the
bullshit.
Republicans
That's
are like,
bullshit.
No, we're not doing
That's
that. We're
bullshit.
not doing
Look
that.
how many people were taken out of this country during the Obama administration. Look what Hillary was trying to say about deporting people and not allowing people into this country. What matters is
that's not Congress. That's not Congress.
These were the solid voice of those parties during that time. So what happens here is,
I don't think so.
Obama wasn't the voice of the Democratic Party when he was president of the United States.
I'm saying
Hillary Clinton wasn't.
They had conversations during Obama's administration about creating paths for citizenship.
And he took 400,000 people out of this country, and also a lot of them didn't go through due process.
I don't know if that's a little number or a big number.
It's a big number, especially when you're looking at the Biden administration that were just letting people into this country.
Well, I mean, I don't think anything can be compared to the Biden administration. I don't even know how much that dude actually did.
So, well, he was sleeping half the time. So,
for sure.
Or falling.
He needed 12 hours of sleep.
Although, I mean, listen, not for nothing, Trump did just fall up the steps on a plane not too long ago, too. So.
Oh, no.
Fair enough.
So did every president ever.
Biden was...
I'm sure Obama fell up some steps
Biden was
once
really,
or twice.
Biden was really solid between the hours of 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. Solid. Couldn't get anything past that guy.
Did you see they're reopening the investigation into the cocaine in the White House?
No, I don't care about
Really?
it.
Yeah.
For what reason?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I think the sun was supplying the dead. I don't know.
Our fucking government, it needs a complete overhaul. And the biggest thing that needs to be done is term limits. I don't understand how anyone can understand that we need term limits. Like, let's talk about it. Let's just use our thinking caps. If we say that it's 100% not possible, then ignore it. But if we say that there is a possibility, then we have to talk about it. If somebody's been in office since the 70s, right? So we're talking about 80s, 90s. Huh?
No way. Who?
Nancy Pelosi's been in office since the 70s.
Is she still in office?
No, I don't think she's.
Okay.
She's not.
She's
now,
done
yeah.
now. What, last year she was done?
All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
so 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, 2020s, 50 years, 5 decades in
That's wild.
office.
That's wild.
If someone, fuck it, if somebody's in office for 30 years,
Yeah,
right?
that's too long.
What is the probability that they have handshakes with people that are contributing to their re-election with the ability to provide them with some sort of service? If it's 100% not an option, then having no term limits is fine. But if there is 10% of a chance that some of these people, which it's more than 10%, I would say that it's a 50% chance that most people that have been in office for decades have had some sort of handout in some sort of fashion that kept them in office.
You ready for
and
this?
If we're saying that, then we shouldn't be keeping them in office. Nancy Pelosi's net worth is millions of dollars. Now, we could sit there and say it's because of her husband and his real estate. Well, who helps fucking real estate if you're in government in California? I don't know. Maybe Nancy fucking Pelosi. I don't know. Maybe she's helping her husband with these I have no idea. I'm not saying it is or it isn't.
Her stock trades are
Yeah, there's an app that
she's
follows
batting
all
a
of her
fucking
trades.
100, my guy. Who bats 100 in the stocks?
Yo, there are people who just follow her trades.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Why not?
It's wild.
Why not? If I know what's going to happen, if I can write the fucking future, then why not?
Of course.
This doesn't make any sense to me on how anyone can sit there and argue against fucking term limits. We're keeping these people in office. Are they really helping us or are they not? I have no idea. Maybe they went into office at one point of time with the intent to do some good work. And then they said, well, let me grease my pockets. And then it became too much of greasing my pockets where I can't do the kind of work that I wanted to do anymore. I don't know, like Karen Reed maybe hitting her boyfriend and then driving off and it just be a bad accident. I have no idea. But I do know the probabilities say those cuts on the arm didn't happen from a fucking taillight and those pockets didn't get filled by doing the right thing.
Well, I hope when I'm Nancy Pelosi's age, I'm worth millions of dollars. That's where I need to be to retire the way I want to retire.
She's been in Congress since 1987 through now. She's
so not the 70s.
Oh,
it's all right. I mean,
Longer than I've been alive, though.
yeah. Well, I mean, wasn't Biden's been in government, or Biden was in government for like how long?
Yeah,
but
I think he got in when he was 32, so he's 80 something.
So, what ties into this conversation even more? And I'm not going to go into my thoughts about us being in war with China, but what this open borders happened, right? We noticed, and our government knows, and our military and our services know that during the last 4 years, there have been a large group of military-aged men from China making their way through our borders. I don't know what that is for. I don't know why it's for. They're looking for a better life. Sure. We also know that China is buying up farmland in the United States. We also know that China is buying up land near all of our military bases.
Yeah,
Which they shouldn't be allowed to do.
Now, all of a sudden, we have 3 Chinese nationals. Now, they are in school, and they could be doing research. But I'm going to play devil's advocate.
I thought they were doctors. Like they were.
Well, they're going for their doctors or they're doing something, whatever the case may be. All I do know is that the fungus that they were bringing in here has the ability to wipe out a large portion of our crops in the United States.
Yeah, specifically wheat.
Yeah. And
corn.
that can be
Wheat,
considered
barley, corn, and rice.
Yep.
agro-terrorism. Then the roundworms that you coincide with that can also do a big factor into our livestock on some of these farms and these kind of issues. So if we are just saying that we are in an active war with China, which we are, which a lot of people don't want to talk about, but we can save that for a whole nother topic of conversation. This is why having these borders open is such a big concern. I have friends in counterterrorism that say they have no visibility in a lot of these people that came in unless they're checking in with their judges. And we know that over 500,000 people aren't checking in with judges. So where are they? What are they doing? What are they up to? And that's a big concern for our national security, whether people want to admit it or not. You can throw your little rocks at ICE in friggin' LA, in any major city, but think about the impact that can happen if we have a terrorist attack on our soil again, like 9/11.
I mean, was 9/11
the inside job coming to a podcast near you. We will be doing conspiracy theories eventually.
One day in the future.
I think some of us have tinfoil hats that we want to discuss things on.
That's all the evidence. It's overwhelming amount of evidence. We won't get into it on this show though.
And I'm sorry, China.
Yeah, but speaking of 9/11, those pilots were on student visas to become pilots, right?
Were they though?
Oh, all right. We're not going any further into this, but these 3 Chinese nationals, look, you can't tell what their intentions were or are. Yeah, they brought this into, dude, I've done some stupid shit that I didn't think would have some consequence, not like this, but that I didn't think about the consequences.
No shit.
I don't know.
Wipe out all of our wheat and barley?
Yeah, but was that on purpose? Was it not? I don't know. I mean, so what are we saying? Like the same thing with the bat thing in Wuhan, right? Like, did they purposefully do this? Or like, this is how
Scott,
I make extra scratch.
What bat thing in Wuhan?
It didn't come from a bat,
What
Scott.
bat thing in Wuhan?
COVID.
It didn't come from a bat,
COVID came
Scott.
from a fucking lab, my
It
guy.
come from a lab. And no bat came out.
Yes, no. But they were using bats. They put the COVID into the bats, and that's how they were testing. But
that bat went into the market so someone could.
I get what he's saying. They use that for the gain of function research.
Story.
Yeah, it's a bat derived.
That's the story. Okay.
I make some extra scratch by selling these animals on the open air market, food market that's right outside the lab.
No.
That's the story. Isn't that the story?
No, that's not at all. The story is it was a leak from within that lab, and all it is location. You look at it, it's like, okay, how convenient that it would end up in a fucking open air wet market. It was basically, there was research being done in the United States, North America. It was in Canada, actually. And researchers, so 2 university researchers, similar to this scenario right here, took the samples that were being researched in the Biolab 4 lab in Canada over to the Wuhan Institute of Virology, which is another Biolab 4 lab. And they were doing tests on gain of function there. And then there was a leak from within that lab because there already were previous issues with their adherence to protocol for how they did their studies and research. So it ended up leaking from that lab, and the wet market theory was due to proximity from that lab, and it was a alternate attempt at claiming that it came out from some other means as opposed to it being a biohazard leak from a lab, because that tied back to the United States, because the person that was funding it was Anthony Fauci with the Something Health Alliance group. Sunshine Lab. I don't remember the specific name.
So that's like the tinfoil hat version, right?
It's not the tinfoil hat version. This is now proven.
This is what Trump said. This is what Trump said originally.
So half the country thinks this is tinfoil hat.
No. This is what Trump said originally, and everyone was like, "Oh, you're a fucking xenophobe. You're a xenophobe. You're a xenophobe." And then, years later, it comes out that it came from this lab. And they drew these lines. I don't know 100% everything he said to be 100% accurate. I do agree that most of the things I've heard and outline that trajectory. I don't know if it's been stamped and proven that way. 100%. This was done this got out of the lab in Wuhan. That's been 100% confirmed. And it wasn't through fucking bats.
But to step that back, to just roll it back real.
I think, one sec. But the first story was that
story is right. The story is right.
Oh, okay. All right. Very good. All right. I just want to make sure I didn't have a false memory. Like,
no, you didn't have a, no, this wasn't,
the original story was some scientist was making some extra scratch by selling animals at the food market down the street. Right?
I don't think they were making extra. I don't think that was ever the story.
They said that
story.
Yeah,
I just heard.
Why would they be selling animals at the food market? Just
no,
because? Why don't I sell these bats to the food market down the street?
No, it's open. That's what they sell there.
Yeah,
it's not like
I'm going to take this bat.
The market sells
to
everything.
Market. For what reason?
No, it's not coming from the lab. They're not going to use the bats that they're in the lab. What happened?
They were saying that
that's what it was.
No.
I'm looking this up. I'm looking this up.
Here, listen.
You guys are wrong.
Basically,
they said that this was a bat virus.
Yeah, it's a bat virus.
No. That someone ate a bat that was infected and then it got sick.
Yeah, that they bought from the market.
No.
That came from the lab.
No. The lab was not connected there at that point. The lab had no connection. It was an open air wet market, and they're saying that those bats that were being sold that people were eating came from the area where they get the bats that they do the research on, and it was infected, and then it crossed from the bat from like a pangolin to a bat, and then a bat to a human because somebody ate it at the wet market. And
that's where Transylvania happened.
That was the story.
And Count Dracula happened too.
I thought because it's a bat virus, they were doing animal testing on the bats. And then that's the story I remember here. This must be a false memory.
What's that thing?
I'm going to Officer Diva on y'all.
Berenstein Bears? No.
Yeah, what's that? Mandela effect.
Yes, thank you. That one.
The Mandela effect.
Yeah.
Where you remember things different from they actually were.
Yeah. Because Mandela was in prison for most of his life. Yeah.
Like the cornucopia on the Fruit of the Loom and the Berenstein Bears versus the Berenstein Bears. But no, we real quick, we'll roll it back to this whole specific situation. To your point, okay, maybe it was a chance they made a mistake because you done a lot of dumb shit. No, because she lied about it and deleted data on her device before she came. So it's like, because this isn't like the first attempt. The one in the student pro, the PhD candidate. So she was planning to conduct research at the University of Michigan for 1 year, and she was accused of smuggling worm-related biological materials for 4 packages sent between September 24th and March 25th, and she lied about them to the CBP and then deleted data off her phone before she got here. So she was arrested in June at Detroit Metro Airport. So she's waiting proceedings, waived bond hearing. The other one was that 34-year-old researcher.
This sounds like an episode of what was that show about the Russians that were they like turned American? The Americans.
The Americans.
You ever see that show, The Americans?
Yeah.
I didn't see it, but I know what you're talking about.
This sounds like an episode of The Americans.
I never saw it either.
Oh, dude, if you like political dramas, that is a great show to watch. Oh my God, The Americans. That was a great show.
Yeah. So long story short, I think what we all have to say. Well, I'm gonna just say for me.
Yeah. Don't speak for
this country was built off of immigrants, and immigrants play a huge role in our society. And I am a first-generation American citizen. I'm grateful that my family was able to come here, and I'm able to live here in this country. I love this country. I want to see this country grow and be beautiful, and everyone flourish. I know that we have a lot of fucking problems in this country that we need to solve, and a lot of things that we need to fix internally before we can start worrying about everybody else. And I want people to be able to come here, but there has to be a way to come here legally. If we want to talk about people who've been here for decades and figuring out a right to citizenship, I'm fine with that. But people who just snuck through the border or have been here for a hot second, they need to go back home, and they need to figure out a way to get back here in the legal matter. And the people that are burning down our country and fighting our officers, our first responders, and all of these people and causing crime, they need to go to jail. Don't pass go. Don't collect $200. And they need to understand that they're part of a problem. And we need to start talking about ways to do reform and ways to fix what needs to be fixed. And not just sit here on our hands and say, oh, we have homelessness. It's okay. It's not okay. It's not. And you want to go help Tom, Dick, and John through the border, and which that's not their names, but we're not going to go through that, right? Also, there's a national security problem. So
Also, remember to vote on Tuesday for Wiz.
Oh yeah,
sounds like he's starting a political campaign over here.
yeah.
You just missed the primaries, bud.
All right. Well, anyone have any closing remarks on ICE situation?
So before I said, go through the whole process, no, they shouldn't. Like, to your point, yes, if they've been here the whole time, there needs to be a process, like you said. If they haven't done anything bad, I mean, everybody makes mistakes, so it's got to be on some sort of a scale as far as, like, the severity of if they did fuck up, because we're all human, and everybody gets in trouble. Speeding tickets, some kind of parking ticket, things like that.
Yeah, it's not
shouldn't be counted against them. If it's something serious, like a violent crime or, like, fraud, like some kind of felony or whatever, should be the threshold.
Not a misdemeanor, felony.
If you've been contributing, if you're established, you have all those things, then you should have a right to it. But the issue is for people coming here, and this goes for Spanish people, Indian people, Arab people, Asian people, coming here and then pretending like this place is your place. Like, okay, you're in America, right? Learn English. Learn some things to contribute and be a part of society. Don't come here and then try to just turn it into your place that you left. This is the whole idea. Is that the idea of this experiment called America was the idea of being a melting pot and mixing all of these people together. It's not a like come here and then just turn it into where you left. And another issue I have, which is a separate topic, is the fact that everywhere else is turning into not where it was, and like places are disappearing. Like Italy is like turning away from being Italy. France is turning away from being France. Germany is turning away from being Germany. Everything is, being affected by globalization. But to bring it back to the immigration thing, it's like you have to make some kind of an effort to show that you are serious about being here and being an upstanding citizen within the United States as an American. Like, make the effort to learn the language. Make the effort to actually assimilate into the community here. Be a part of it. Not just come here and, okay, you're physically here, but you're still like not here, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%. And I'll piggyback off of that. As much as I said we have all of these problems, America's fucking beautiful, right?
Yeah.
We have a lot to offer anybody who wants to come here, anyone that's here. Like, as much as anyone wants to sit there and say the world is ending.
Oh, America's like the worst country in the freaking world to some people, man. Some of those people are the ones rioting in the streets. It's like, you guys are crazy.
Well, that's
why are you supporting these people who are illegally coming here if it's such a terrible place?
Yeah, well,
That's
I mean, you can't fix stupid. So, I get
natural selection.
If there's one thing I agree with you on, America's the greatest country on the planet.
Or it used to be.
Unpopular opinion, yeah, I think it's by design being taken off of that
so we don't
level.
agree that America's the greatest country in the world.
I'm not arguing with you guys.
No, I agree that America, based on what was founded and what it grew to be, was the best country in the world.
It's still the greatest country in the world.
And by the people who really love America and want to see America be America, yes, it is the greatest country in the world. But when we look at statistics and we look I'm not talking about greatest in education, greatest in whatever, I'm talking about this is the greatest country on earth, period, based on the metric of greatness. It's the greatest country on earth.
It's bigly great.
Do we have some problems? Do we need to fix some things? Yes. Do we have a lot of problems? Do we need to fix a lot of things? Yes.
Yes.
Still the greatest country on earth. That's it. That's my take.
All right.
Fair.
I mean, I won't get into what I was going to say then.
No, please do.
I'll save it for another. I'll save it for another.
Well, how if you don't like it here,
No.
you can
No,
leave.
no,
If
no.
nobody likes it here, they can leave.
This-
It doesn't matter.
You don't understand. You don't
Actually,
understand.
it's not as easy to leave America as it is to get into America. So
you don't understand what I'm talking about or where I'm getting at, right?
No, I probably don't.
No, I sort of do, but I think that is a big topic.
We
Or is
can't
it
go
not?
into now.
Yeah. So I
I'm
would,
trying to get a July 4th reel out of this.
I would
America's the greatest country on earth.
Well, we're a couple
America
weeks
is the
away,
greatest
so-
country on earth.
I'm saving it.
I don't know. I still think that one of my favorite monologues in TV history is from Newsweek or Newsroom,
that was good.
where he's
was
talking
good.
about America not being the greatest country, and America's the greatest country it used to be.
That hooked me on the whole show.
And 100%.
I mean, that was the pilot episode.
It was
sure.
it was the first episode, and
Yeah.
that monologue was amazing.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. It was great.
We'll put a link in
If you
for-
haven't seen
we'll
that
put a
show.
we'll put a link in the monologue in some sort of forum. I think eventually I would like to get a Discord channel for anyone that
Probably on
follows.
YouTube.
And now, does this now bring us to World War III?
Oh yeah, bombs over
Imminent
Baghdad.
Oh my
Right, World
God,
War III.
World War III, bro.
All right, well,
Crazy shit.
You want to get some stuff off your chest before we get deep into this topic? I know you got some stuff to let off.
I mean, I'll just piggyback on what I said in regards to people in America today, that a lot of them lived in some sort of fluffy life. And I don't think that they realize what it's like to live in some of these Middle Eastern areas.
Well,
And what-
Just look at the riots that have happened at the Ivy League schools. I mean, talk about fluffy life. Some of them.
Well, I mean, yes, but I'm going to say something and we're going to determine whether or not this is going to be
Cut.
yeah.
Do it. I want to hear it, bro. I want to hear it.
In some of these Middle Eastern countries, like these people that are protesting
for it.
here in the United States would be fucking stoned to death.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Let's
So-
talk about how it is
Hands cut.
It is
Heads
normal in some of these Middle Eastern countries for little boys to be molested by older men, and that is an actual thing that is consistently happening. Like, we're not talking about civilized folk. And I'm not sitting there saying that everyone is wrong. If we look at Iran from the 70s in comparison to Iran today, we're talking about two different Irans.
Yeah.
And what people don't understand is,
That's when Khomeini came into power in the 70s.
well, did you see people there's video in Iran today of Iranians singing death to Khomeini?
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't see that.
Oh, there's a large portion of Iran that doesn't want.
Oh yeah,
their-
no,
like,
they've been rioting for years against.
Yes, this tyranny.
Khomeini.
Yes.
Yeah. But I wonder if this whole rioting and increased traffic, and protests has anything to do with like degrading the image of America. Like I'm going conspiracy theory right now, right? Like, like anytime something happens in Iran, right, where it's like, oh, this is controversial and tensions are getting high, boom. Like, are we activating these people in Iran to cause unrest in Iran? And then now, like, don't you think it's odd that this Israeli and Iranian tensions happen at the same time we're having riots in America?
I do and I don't.
Do you think they're connected?
Well, from what I read and what I was
They
hearing,
might be.
is
I don't
that
know.
Iran was very, very close to having nuclear weapons, and that's why Israel did what they did. Now, do I know that for
They've
certain?
been very, very close for
Yeah,
decades.
That's
sure.
been the ongoing story that Netanyahu has been using for the last like however many years. You can read it every single time he's making press conferences. Oh, they're this close. Oh, within a year. Oh, within a year. Every time, like
That's
the
the
last
oldest-
15 years.
yeah, that's
It's just
the
over and
oldest
over again. The
story in
same
the
story.
book.
The same story.
I hear you guys, but here's where I'm going to stand. I'm going to stand on the people who are in charge of Iran today. If they had a button that was able to wipe America from the earth, that button would have been pressed a million times.
way.
I don't think so.
No way.
I don't think so.
And what?
Wait,
and
whoa,
assure
whoa,
that their
whoa,
own
whoa, whoa,
destruction?
whoa. You're not listening to what I'm saying. Listen to what I'm saying before you respond that way. If Iran had a button that would wipe America from the world without retaliation, that button would have been pressed a million times.
You can say that about everybody. You can say that about everybody. America would do yes.
Not everyone would like to see. No.
All right, use an example then.
If the Iranians did that, the Russians would probably wipe out Iran. Like,
but he's saying, listen, I get what he's saying. What he's saying is if there is a button to press that will take out a specific place with no retaliation from anybody at all, every country would do the same thing. If the United States had that, they would take out China or they would take out Russia. If China had that, they would take out America or they would take out, whoever else. If Israel had that, if anybody else had
that's
that.
the whole point of mutually assured destruction.
My definition and my reason for saying that is the Iranian government and the people that are in power today have actively said how much they hate America and how much they would kill Americans. I don't hear the Chinese saying that. I don't hear Russians saying that. I don't hear all these other people.
North Koreans
we
said.
gave them
North Koreans said.
sure until we said little rocket shut up because we have big rocket, and then he shut the fuck up, right?
No, I bet you he's still telling his people that.
It's a difference between
have you
telling
seen that documentary on North Korea?
same but
Crazy.
No,
different.
they well not that.
Not
There was a guy.
Not the interview?
The guy.
Yeah, not
there
the
was a guy
interview.
who was given like unfettered access to North Korea. And like he went to all these museums and it's all about like hate on America. Like there's so much propaganda against America. Like the people in North Korea actually hate Americans. Like this is ingrained in their society. And it could almost be compared to, granted, we don't do it at the same level as to what we went through in the 80s. I mean, like there was a whole campaign about how, it was like hate the Russians.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, granted, we didn't go, I don't think I wasn't around in the 80s. I mean, I was born in the 80s, but,
So then you were around if you were born in the 80s.
yeah, but I don't remember anything in the 80s.
Oh, you were around. Don't act like
I
you're
was
younger
born,
than
like-
you are,
I
bro.
was
Don't
born-
say you're a
Yeah, this
90s
guy.
baby if you're an 80s
I was
baby.
born like 90 days from 1990.
It doesn't matter. You're an 80s baby,
Like,
you old
all
ass
right,
man.
all right. So yeah, but all of this, the Berlin Wall came down like within weeks of me being born.
I don't
So-
care. That doesn't matter to me. You're still an 80s baby.
Yeah,
That's
you're
all
an
that
80s
matters.
baby.
Cool. All right. I'm not denying that I'm an 80s baby. I'd rather
Call
be an
a
80s
spade
baby
a spade.
than a 90s baby. Oh my god. Anyway,
Why? You don't like skibbity toilets?
the
Skibbity
Riz,
bebop,
Skibby Riz,
bebop who?
the Lulu toilets.
the Lulu toilet Riz.
But what I'm saying is like this is population control. This is people control, right? We have these propaganda things, right? And they do it deep in Iran and they do it deep in North Korea.
Hey, yo.
Absolutely, the Iranian government is going to say that, even if they don't. Like, look, it's not freaking possible, right? And that's what mutually assured destruction is.
I understand.
That's why we have not shot
I-
nukes at Russia.
I
That's why
understand
Russia's
what
not
you're
shot
saying,
nukes at us.
but that doesn't change from what I'm saying. The only place that I know that the government, their government,
North Korea.
actively, no. North Korea was told to shut the fuck up, and he shut the fuck up, right? I haven't heard him saying much about shit
Well,
with
how
Trump
much
in
North
office.
Korean news are you listening
He's
to?
flying. He's flying under the radar. He's biding his time.
What I can say is there was a bunch of North Korea shit, and there's no North Korea shit. So I understand what you're telling me, but Little Rocket, shut the fuck up. What I'm talking to you about is outside of. I'll give you North Korea. Outside of North Korea, which we don't like either, right? The only other place that is actively saying "fuck America, I will kill Americans" is Iran. Okay. That's it. And we know the Iranian government has funded Hamas, has funded a ton of terroristic organizations who, in fact, we've had to fucking deal with on a consistent basis. So I'm not going to sit here and pitter-pat and say that I disagree with Israel attacking Iran. Now, I'm not a big fan of Netanyahu.
One point. Real quick. 1 point.
Here comes the counter.
I just want to say,
let him counter.
3 Chinese nationals were just caught with fungus and ringworm that would decimate America.
We're in an active war with China, and we have been.
So Iran and North Korea are not the only 2 countries. And
there's a difference between
plausible deniability there. We would not go into open war. If that stuff got out and killed all of our crops and killed all the cows, right, that would not cause open war between us and China. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. There would be very little retaliation.
I don't think that is correct. You're telling me if they wiped out, let's just say 50% of our wheat and barley.
Plausible deniability.
Us. There's a bomb. That's a plausible deniability that accidentally went off in Wuhan.
That's different. I mean, so what? I mean, some of the stories is the Chinese planted COVID.
I don't want to talk about Chinese. We're talking about Israel and Iran, and he has a say on Iran.
I'm just saying, all right.
Please, the floor is yours.
No, all I'm going to say is, I mean, like, all right, that's all good and well based on what you're saying, but, like, if you attack, then it gives the other person the right to attack back. Like, You open up the floodgates. You want to send stuff over, then you send stuff back, and then it's like, okay, now the United States cover us, back us up.
I don't disagree with you.
United States cover us, back us up. We hit the hornet's nest. We fucking shook the hornet's nest. Now come help us.
I don't disagree with you.
You think that's Israel's stance right now?
It's pretty fucking clear that it's Israel's stance.
That is absolutely not pretty freaking clear. That's not.
Okay.
That's not.
Explain then.
Listen, bro. Israel, they cannot be retaliated against right now. They can't.
What are you talking about?
They destroyed all of Iranians.
Do you not realize what's happening? They've been retaliated against.
Yeah,
they got rockets and everything hitting them.
They're trying.
They have been.
Yeah.
There's footage of everything.
They're trying to.
No, they are actively retaliating.
They are retaliating.
Listen,
it is ineffective.
As of right now.
And yes, it's partly due to the United States Navy.
As of right now, what has been attacked from Iran to Israel has really just been commercial and one airbase. They haven't really been able to get through anything else.
Very ineffective.
And if we're looking at the size of the damage, first and foremost, there have been more civilian casualties in Israel than there have been military casualties in Israel.
That's right.
And if we look at what Israel has done to Iran, like, listen, to put this in perspective, do we know how big Israel is in comparison to a United States state?
Small.
It's not very big. Iran is huge.
No, I know. But how big is Israel in compared to a United States state?
It's essentially the size of, if you were to look at it, it's about the size of New Jersey, a little bit bigger than the size of New Jersey.
So
what's the?
I mean, ChatGPT. If you ChatGPT, like if Israel was compared to a United States state, what would it be? I want to say it is New Jersey, and then we could look at population, right? But Israel is the size of fucking New Jersey, bro. Their military and the way they operate, there needs to be books and documentaries. Like the pager shit alone The pager shit alone was fucking amazing. And like, if you're gonna sit there and be able to infiltrate, make sure you're attacking nothing. There were no civilian casualties during that whole thing. All of the top leading people were targeted, and they pressed the button, an alarm went off, and the bomb blew up.
There were like 5,000. Were there 5,000 people?
Was nuts.
Yeah.
Now we look at this, where they were able to target Iran and be able to pass over and infiltrate and go inside enemy lines and then be able to attack all of these bases. Not to mention, they're going to attack that nuclear base. I know they tried.
I thought they already did.
They did, but I don't think it's been an issue. Like, it's not melting down or anything like that. It's still sustaining.
No,
well, I don't think it's
heavily protected that they.
I don't think it's a nuclear.
3 p.m. today.
It's not a nuclear power plant that would have a fear of melting down. They're not. It's not. I don't believe it's a nuclear power plant.
This is enrichment.
Yeah, this is enrichment. It's a different
fuel
enrichment.
Sorry.
And, the gas station. I mean, the gas lines that they blew up. They did
oil and gas refineries, radar systems, energy infrastructure, missile bases, and nuclear labs is what Iran.
And top level military officials were killed.
Yeah, Iran Defense Ministry and
they
IRGC
wanted to go after
headquarters.
Khomeini.
And I mean, if Khomeini keeps playing around, that's the goal. The goal is to get him out, because essentially right now you have Israel. That's the closest thing to what we are in the United States in the Middle East.
So you're saying that Israel is the America of the Middle East?
No, what I'm saying is from a social perspective, allowing like gays.
Oh, like Western world,
Western culture.
Okay.
Like, they're the closest thing to America in the Middle East. Iran was that in the 70s. Women were wearing miniskirts. It was completely different than it is today.
Yes.
And I believe that there's a good portion of that population. I know, right? If we're seeing like the Iranians that are there today singing "Death to Khomeini," right? Like, they are actively saying that they want to overthrow this government and they need help to do that.
Well, I think part of those people who are saying "Death to Khomeini" are people who used to support him. That are like, yo, you're weak. Get out of the way. Like, if he doesn't want to get out of the way, let's get him.
No, I think that there are people that want to go back to the way that it was.
There absolutely is people that want to go back that way. I'm sure that there is. I'm just saying, I think there are some in his regime who are thinking about this guy.
I get it, but they're not. I don't think those. We're talking about civilians. We're talking about civilians here. Civilians were actively singing "Death to Khomeini," which means they want to go back to the way it was before, right?
Right.
Before the tyranny and
a more progressive lifestyle.
Yes, and when you see that, and like, if you have Iran and Israel in the same sort of level of life, then you can start not reviving, but change the Middle East where it isn't as like
stable. Stable isn't as stable.
No, like isn't as like looking like bringing it up like from not like a third world population, right, and making it more civilized. But I'm just trying to find a better modernize. Like
your definition of civilized,
developed,
somebody else's
Western.
Right.
Yeah,
more
Western.
More Western.
I think that's appropriate.
Right.
Which would be considered more progressive.
I would say some of them believe they are more civilized than we are, and I'm not going to argue who is more civilized or not. I'm just saying that's the way.
It's also a culture. It's a matter of cultural differences.
Yeah. Or culture, religion, whatever.
Yeah. Well, they tie hand in hand pretty much.
Yeah, they do.
All right. Well,
but I mean, we went off into this political tangent. I want to talk about the conflict. I mean.
Well, I mentioned that they said that
this is the perfect time for Israel. I think this was the plan from the start. Was like, let's get rid of Hamas. Let's get rid of Hezbollah. Let's go into all these places. Now we have this presence everywhere. Nobody can retaliate. They can't shoot rockets over the frickin' fence anymore.
Oh, no, it's down, though, I think.
What's down?
That
Iron
fence that
Dome.
you're talking about, the Iron Dome is down.
Oh, no. I'm talking about the physical fence that they had between them and Palestine.
Oh.
Like the kind of like DMZ Israel and
okay.
Palestine. Like they're in Palestine, right? They're in Syria. They've destroyed these organizations. And, maybe the Iron Dome is not up right now, but what? Overall, from the start of the missile strikes, there were 14 civilian casualties in Israel, right?
Yeah.
In Iran, they haven't even posted since Saturday. And on Saturday, it was 80, right? They're far more effective.
I think they're over 200 right now from what I've read.
They've got to be far over that. They're far more effective in their attacks. They are far more capable, and they have no chance of repercussions from surrounding areas, right? There's not going to be any retaliation from Hezbollah. There's not going to be any retaliation from Hamas, because then it's just going to get worse over there. That's just that's not even like a rocket thing. That's like I'm just going to use my army and we'll just suppress this over here, right? And we'll just use all of our rockets to shoot that direction, like that in the complete opposite direction. But I mean, and also Israel knows with Trump in the White House, there is no way we're going to let them get decimated by Iran. And I don't even know if Iran has the capability to decimate us.
The bigger concern is not even so much Iran, it's the other countries that are backing or siding with them. For example,
Israel, not us. Say that again.
China and Russia basically condemning the attacks and saying that it's an escalation and it's going to lead to instability in that region. Like, by doing that, I mean, okay, if you take out a leader or you take out a government,
oh yeah, they don't want to take that leader out. That's going to be a bad move.
Often a power void, right? There's like that void of power void that needs to be filled, and you don't know what's going to fill it.
Yep.
The other side is it's like, okay, first off, why escalate anything in that area? Like, why attack in the first place? Like, I get what you're saying. Okay, they're worried about Iran, but that's been the thing ongoing for however long. But just attacking in general, why lead to more war or conflict in the first place at all?
I think Israel saw the opportunity that they don't have. There's no chance of retaliation. Iran is not going to grab their army together.
That's not the point I'm getting at.
Iraq and attack Israel.
Regardless of that, why start more conflict?
I
believe
there's
that
no good
Benny
reason.
is just trying to eliminate all the threats right now.
If it were me, this is just, if I was Israel and I was leading Israel and this was the play, which I agree with Scott, like, a lot of the opposing forces have been decimated. You were able to strategically maneuver to pretty much without any loss of your own, right? Like, take out all of these main figures that were opposing you. And now you have the one big person who was funding all of it, right? We know that. It's not like it's a hidden secret. We know Iran was funding a lot of what's happening over there. So if we're able to make these attacks and strikes and get him out of power, we're going to add influence to who's going to be next to take over. And if you do that, then you have two places in the Middle East who are now sort of Western civilized, right? Who now can sort of work together. Israel, like, we know there's a good portion of Iran that wants to go back, that they don't want to feel like they're oppressed. They want more freedom. They want all of these things, right? And they want to be more of a Western civilized place. Okay. So if they're able to align with Israel and get this done, well, who are we looking at?
That's not happening. That's not happening.
Okay.
It's not happening.
Okay.
No, I don't think that was their plan. I don't think that was their strategy. I think their strategy is eliminate the threat. That's it.
But like you said, if you cut off the head of a snake, 2 heads return. So and this isn't
the threat. I'm talking about the nuclear threat.
But sure, but like again, if you cut off the head, 2 heads return. So if you do this, it's not like you want to cut off the head and allow something to return. You want to cut off the head and replace it with something that is in favor of what you like.
This was the strategy decades ago, and it doesn't work.
It doesn't work in
it's
any
never
sense
worked.
of anything
And
that's being
sure, that's
over
like
there.
that's like freaking pie in the sky thinking, right? But that's not.
But Iran was Iran before.
In 1976 or something, yeah. You were saying something, Mohammed?
Yeah, that it doesn't work in general anywhere, that approach, because look at Palestine, look at all the other places, look at Afghanistan. You clear out somebody and then you got the other people coming in their place. In Palestine, you have those people that they're going to be coming after you forever. Like, they're not going to just forget about what you did. They're not going to, there's
a lot of people in Palestine that necessarily weren't. I'm not saying we're happy that Israel decimated, right? But they were being, Hamas has been leading Palestine since 2008, 2010, right? They were part of a bigger problem in Palestine, right? And those people, Hamas, were also inflicting like death upon Palestinians, right? So they didn't want to be governed. Like, this isn't like, and this is what not a lot of people don't understand. Like, this isn't like a small conflict. Like, there is so many layers to the onion here that need to be pulled back. It's not an easy answer. And I'm not saying what Israel did to Gaza Strip is 100% okay. I'm not saying what, like, death is okay. I don't want death to anybody. But the Middle East is a different animal than other parts of the world, right? And it's hard to fathom when we live here, right? Where we don't see that. We got a brief witness of that over the last, 7, 8, 9 decades before Pearl Harbor, like with 9/11, right? And we'll put our conspiracy hats aside for this moment, right? Like, we saw damage done to the United States. We saw damage done to the United States in a small form, and a lot of Americans lost their life, right? But we don't see that kind of shit every day, and that's what it's like over there. Like, it's a completely different ballgame. And is it right? Is it wrong? It's hard for me to fucking fathom. It's hard for me to say, right?
But let's talk about. I mean, think about this, right? The regime change was in the 70s. It's all about who is prepared to fight, right? The Iranian military is huge, okay? And they've had generations to brainwash these people. Generations. Who is ready to fight? It doesn't matter how many people care. You know what they did? I think they killed like 200 people out of the 5,000 people that protested, a year or two ago. Don't quote me on this. But and what happened? Nothing. The protests stopped. Because they were like, oh man, we don't want to die.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah, they don't want to fight. There's no will to fight. These people want all these things.
Well,
they don't want to fight.
But they don't want to fight because they didn't have.
Because they'll die.
Well, right. They didn't want to fight because the situation's different right now.
No, it doesn't.
Well, how about this?
I don't know how that's.
How about like a different piece of it was the fact that Israel had presented a plan to the Trump administration to kill Khamenei, but Trump was like, no, the White House doesn't approve of that.
Well, yeah, because it's freaking a terrible idea. We already talked about this. The void, right? The void. Somebody's going to fill that void. Who's going to fill it? Right? And it's not going to be filled by some liberals who want it to be like in the 70s.
Well, hold on. I have a question for you. I have a question for you. For both of you. How fast did Hamas get new leaders after all of them died by pagers? Or did a lot of them say,
We have no.
hey,
I don't know how.
like,
do you have an
I
answer?
mean, I don't, but
Oh.
have you heard about Hamas lately?
No, we haven't.
Okay. So,
Yeah, but Hamas is not.
so
Iran.
my question to you is this.
Palestine's like the size of Rhode Island.
So my question to you is this.
Or the Gaza Strip.
If Israel goes ahead and they have killed Khamenei and however and many other commanders, who's then stepping up saying, I want to be next on this shit?
Oh, there's going to be plenty of people.
Okay. And then at that point
There's
of
people
time,
who've been waiting for that dude to die to take his spot. What are you talking about?
yeah, they're dead.
If he hasn't figured out...
they died by missiles.
There were a lot of people taken out. But I already saw today that they've got replacements for all those people.
Sure.
They had the names and everything. These people replace these people. These people replace
it makes because you have to do that. If not, you sound weak.
Yeah.
So
well, maybe Khamenei is hiding.
You're taking over this role, or there's going to be a bullet in your head, your wife's head, and your kid's head.
Oh, now we're talking about the dictator. It needs to be more pointy.
But yeah, the other piece was that, at least from some of the research, is that the Trump administration is trying to keep it just targeted on decapitating the nuclear program. So the Iran nuclear program. That that should be the main focus and the target, because otherwise, if they try to take out Khamenei, it'll cause bigger issues in the whole region. The idea is it's going to destabilize the region, because that's going to directly counter what Russia or China are interested in allowing to happen, because there's more. It's like it's more geopolitical than just Iran and Israel, right? There's a lot of other things to think about that are in play here.
Yeah, I mean,
it's very regional.
In closing, I don't wish war at all in the world. I don't believe anyone should die. All of these things necessarily,
unless it's by pagers, though, right?
Just
by pagers.
Just by pagers, and see how long that lasts you.
Benny said he's got some rabbits up his sleeve still.
Yeah. What's going on over there is wild and is deep. I don't believe this turns into World War III. I don't. I mean, it's scary, sure, but I don't believe this turns into World War III. And at the end of the day,
there will be strong condemnations, but there will be no action.
Yeah, I could hope for is that there are no more loss of civilian lives, that people start coming together and realizing that humans are humans. It doesn't matter whether or not we're France, the United States, China, Russia. Humans are humans. We're a human race. It doesn't matter if your name's Muhammad, Anthony, or Scott.
Nice. Yeah, but like this, I mean, I don't know if most of you know this from the viewers or either of you guys. The Ukraine-Russia war and the Iranian-Israeli war that's going on right now, these are not the only two wars that are going on in this world. They're not the only two wars that are going on right now. They're just the two wars that impact us the most, right? People are dying every day in war, and this world is a crazy place. There's crazy things happening. These things impact us most. And I have to echo what you said. Like, I don't wish for any civilians to die. I don't wish for anybody to get hurt. I wish we could all figure this out diplomatically. Just some countries, it's just not in the cards because there's these hard stances, and it's very unfortunate. It's a waste of life, and unfortunately, the three of us can't do anything about it.
Well, we can. That's the thing.
Well, we're trying to do something.
That's what we're doing here.
We're trying to pass the word to get
Starting
more people
that
to understand that these are conversations that should be happening. Human lives are human lives, and it doesn't matter what line you are in. I know that contradicts like the whole border shit, but we still need to understand that
I think you can take those. I think you can take both of those.
Yeah, if we press a nuclear button, other people press nuclear buttons, it doesn't fucking change shit, right?
Yeah.
It makes shit worse. And at the end of the day, most of us want to see other people being able to grow, succeed. Imagine everyone wasn't on this whole war shit and just trying to figure out how to make fucking us go to Mars, or us advancing civilization, or us working side by side next to robots. I have no idea, but it'd probably be pretty fucking cool.
I don't think everybody would want to do
Sex
Yeah, I'm
robots?
good on that last one. I'm good with working side by side with some robots. I don't trust those fuckers. They're hearing this right now and they're going to take over.
Have you seen iRobot?
That shit's real. And Elon's already tried. We got Elon. We don't have to worry about it. Elon's already taking care of getting us to the moon.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on another weekly episode of No Safe Words. Before in closing, we wish peace on earth and just hope that everyone finds love and happiness. And for those who lost anybody, prayers to you guys.
Why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends?